So on to the first team.
All right.
My first team offensive line, Andrew Thomas at that tackle spot,
The dog.
John Stitchcomb,
Okay.
Ben Cleveland at the guard,
Woo, Big Ben.
and honestly, I think I messed up on it. I had Fernando Velasco on my first team as a guard, and
Okay.
I meant to have the guy you said on the second team, and then
Okay.
my center was David Andrews.
Okay.
Because
All right.
David Andrews, Ben Jones came in and locked it down. He played awesome, but then David Andrews had to follow that, starting soon as he got there, and then David Andrews
Right.
followed that by being an All SEC All American. So, who you got on that offensive line?
Now, I put Ben Jones, like you said, as center because he laid the foundation. I don't know if he started all the years, but I know David Andrews started 3 years, but Ben Jones was that dude.
Yeah,
And he's probably still playing today. Now, at tackle, I definitely got to go new school. I got to go Andrew Thomas. I don't know. I mean, if I ever saw the guy give up a sack, but he was doing it.
bruh. I don't know what's done going on at the Giants, but when he was in Athens, he didn't give up. He didn't give up much.
You got to adjust to the league. It's a different game. You know what I mean? They know more tricks. The speed is different. He'll be all right.
Yeah,
Um, I definitely agree with John Stitchcomb. His brother was Matt, and Matt is probably the best lineman we ever had.
I think so.
And this guy, he's pretty much just another version of Matt, just maybe an inch shorter, 10 or 15 pounds lighter, but consistency. Started all 4 years. He was unstoppable. I go with Clint Bowling at guard. And then I'm going to go with Cordy Glenn.
Cordy Glenn. Cordy Glenn got some consideration. He got
Now,
some.
here's the thing. I'm going to go with Big Ben Cleveland because I think he kind of lost his starting position at points or something. I
Well,
don't know. Was that other?
him and Cade Mays did rotate out, but once Cade was out the way for whatever reason, he followed that up with a senior season as an first team All American, dog. I'm like, listen, Ben, when he first came in, he was just really strong. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like he came in and he was the guy. He was supposed to be the guy as soon as he got there. A lot expected of it. His pass blocking wasn't all that great. His pass blocking wasn't elite as he graduated, but it had definitely developed over the years, and that's what I like to see in a player. You come in with some disadvantages or some negatives, and you work on that. And I mean, when it came to run blocking, the dude was a mauler.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably give him. He's in the mention. He's around the John Theus's maybe.
No.
But
No, don't get my boy.
Cordy, hey, Glenn. Nah, he couldn't touch Cordy Glenn.
Okay, all right. So we're gonna move on to the pass catches that these dudes was blocking for, so that they can receive the ball. So two of these dudes, since you can't see my screen, two of these dudes that the audience can see, I already know you're gonna choose. My tight end was your second team tight end. It's Orson Charles.
Okay.
It was a toss up for Orson. It was a toss up. My first team was a toss up between Orson Charles, Randy McMackle, and actually, if I'm not mistaken, Ben Watson had a season. I think in 2000 or 2001 or just 2000. So he was up. He was in there.
Okay.
So Orson Charles is my tight end. My third receiver is Tavares King. And then the top two dogs, I mean, anybody that knows Georgia football, it's AJ Green and Terrence Edwards. I mean, AJ Green is the most physically gifted receiver we've ever had. Most big time plays. I mean, you name it, he could do it. Run routes, whatever it is. And then Terrence Edwards, I mean, all he did was just lead the SEC in everything.
Yeah.
I don't know a category when he was playing that he didn't lead, and he's still in the top 2 or 3 in a lot of those categories, if not number 1.
I mean, definitely agree with that. When you look at Terrence Edwards, he came in as a quarterback, quickly switched, and the guy to me is kind of like Jerry Rice. All he did was catch the ball and just run routes. I agree with you, AJ Green. He is that freak. He's that phenomenal. That's that Moss type, My number 3 wide receiver was Freddie Gibson because in his day, nobody could stop him. And
He always
and
got
I'm just
hurt.
I don't know about that. I mean, he was a little thin, but
Do you remember the game against?
but
Do you remember the game against Florida? Mark Richt put him back at kickoff, and he ran the kickoff and pulled a hamstring. And after that, he just wasn't Freddie Gibson no more, man.
hey, I think Freddie Gibson was unstoppable on the field. Tavares King, he was on my honorable mention. I ain't my second team, and I'm gonna tell you why. Tavares King didn't have nobody else really around him, so he caught a lot of balls.
Bruh,
But if you look at, I mean, he was good.
Tavares King had Marlon Brown.
Okay, but guess what? You didn't mention Marlon Brown. All these other guys, you mentioned somebody else with. Marlon Brown was solid possession receiver, and he did better when he did in the league for a couple of seasons. But Marlon Brown wasn't like, oh, we doing game plan to stop Marlon Brown.
Hey,
Tavares King benefited from being
Chris Cup.
pretty much
Pretty
much one receiver, and the other guys were okay.
Tavares had a season. I don't know how many seasons, but he had a season with Chris Conley, still in the league.
Once again, a possession receiver in college, a solid receiver, but not you game plan for it. Not like I can't check. Not like we got to double team this dude.
You're right, but okay. Well, if that's the case, I mean, listen. I mean,
You had a double team, AJ. You got a game plan for him. You got to be like, man, Terrence Edwards. Okay.
Yeah. I see.
Now, tight end. This is very interesting because you didn't mention my guy, and all this dude did was revolutionize to me the future tight end.
I know.
That's right. Now they used to say a lot of things, but I'm just gonna say Pope.
Little Pope.
This dude right here. I mean, Aaron Murray had him. Greasy had him. This dude was so productive. Actually, if you look at Darnell Washington, that's Leonard Pope. If they use him. Leonard Pope cannot be checked or stopped.
If they use him.
But stop. Who could check this guy? This dude like what 6'7", I don't know, 6'8", 6'7".
If they use him, Darnell Washington actually could be better.
Yeah,
because he's more athletic. You can tell he's more athletic. But I don't know because the thing is though, Pope didn't play.
Pope could block.
Yeah,
could catch.
Pope didn't play like he played with some good dudes, but I don't know if top to bottom he played with the talent that Darnell, because that's gonna be the problem with Darnell Washington, is trying to see like who we're gonna get the ball to, and he's not gonna get the lion's share of the ball. I mean I hope they use him, but I saw something crazy on one of the Facebook groups I'm on with the Dawgs. Somebody was asking for 800 yards. I'm like, you know how 800 yards is ridiculous for a tight end. Like if you like Kyle Pitts had that kind of numbers, but that's the only person Kyle Trask is throwing the ball to.
I mean, he was a primary. Maybe they threw a little bit to Tony or somebody, but yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like, that's if Darnell Washington gets over 400 yards, that'll be really good considering all the talent that we're trying to distribute the ball to this year.
Oh yeah, that's true.
All right, so on to them boys that tote that rock. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
I mean, Nick Chubb and Todd Gurley. I mean, I don't even know if it's really debatable.
Now, who would be your number one? That's debatable.
Todd Gurley. Stop.
Really?
Stop. Todd Gurley. Like,
I don't know.
Listen, I'm just saying Todd Gurley, because Nick Chubb, Nick Chubb was that dude. Listen, don't want to take nothing from him, but Todd Gurley.
He's close to Herschel when you think about
the yards. But when you think about, okay, so let me ask you this: when you watch Nick Chubb, I ain't talking about just in the Oklahoma game, not just in the Oklahoma game because it was like Olay defense out there, but when you talk about watching Nick Chubb, every time Nick Chubb got the ball, did you think he was gonna break it? Every time.
No.
Todd Gurley, every time. And then
you're right. If you held your breath every time.
And then if it needed to be a tiebreaker.
Right.
When Todd Gurley was a freshman and played against Alabama when they was actually known for defense, guess who couldn't stop Todd Gurley?
Oh yeah. I mean,
when they were lesser known for defense in the SEC championship, I mean not the SEC championship, but in the national championship, if it weren't for Sonny Michel, I don't know, because
You're
they
right.
had a beat on Nick Chubb. I don't know why Kirby.
You're
I
right.
don't know why Kirby didn't see that, but Sonny Michel was gassing him.
You're, you're right. I mean, I kind of look at it like Nick Chubb was very solid. Like I said, he's like Herschel, and sometimes I wonder though, like I said, because Todd Gurley has some injury, is he like Bo Jackson? But who would you take between those two? I don't know. But I definitely say every time that Todd Gurley had the ball in his hand, I held my breath.
So you got the same two on your first team.
At the same to my first team.
All right. So, all right. So for a quarterback, for the man running the show, I personally know some dog fans here in the upstate of South Carolina that would disagree with my pick. They've expressed as much, but I don't think you can deny it, man. 4 straight years, $3K each year.
Yeah.
Aaron Murray. The reason why I say it, like I talked to a dog fan one time, and when I said Aaron Murray was one of the best quarterbacks in Georgia history, she just frowned because she said he lost the SEC championship in 2012 for us. I was like, apparently you wasn't watching the game closely. On that last drive, as he's running down the field, he's doing this to spike the ball. But either, I don't know if it was Mark or Mike Bobo, told him to run the play.
First of all, that play right there is not a situation where you can really blame my guy, right? That's a situation where if you look at like the Falcons and Matt Ryan taking a sack, that's you can blame a quarterback. But
Matty Ice, you did it the day after his birthday. You so nasty.
I'm just saying, you can't blame Aaron Murray for that. I mean, this guy, like you said, 3,000 yards every year. I think Fromm may have thrown for 3,000 yards once.
Stop.
I'm just saying.
Stop.
I mean, this guy.
Stop.
This guy started as a freshman. I mean, he battled every game. He almost took out Cam Newton that game that they played. I mean, I was so glad we got this guy on the floor. And this actually worked in Mark Richt's favor. I hate that it happened to Mettenberger because he might would have messed that decision up between Mettenberger and Aaron Murray. But thankfully, I hate that it happened to Mettenberger, but it worked out because Aaron Murray he's the best quarterback I would say that I've seen. And I haven't seen, Fran Tarkenton and all the other guys. This guy, he's that dude.
I think what I heard that Fran Tarkenton had on a lot of people, especially for his time, Fran was very agile and mobile. So whereas those quarterbacks, Aaron Murray was.
Aaron Murray to run.
Well, when he first came in, he was a dual. He was actually recruited. He was listed in I don't know whether it was 247 or whatever. He was a dual threat quarterback out of the Tampa. Was it Plant High School in Tampa or something like that? And he came in his first year. He was running. I think Mike Bobo was like, "Yo, shut it down. Stop all that running."
Some licks in the SEC, and you're not going to be playing every Saturday if you run the ball.
But dude was missing. Yeah, but dude was Mr. Consistent. He probably, in my mind, for what I saw, was the most accurate deep ball thrower since 2000. Now, and I know some people watching this are probably going to be like, neither one of y'all had Matt Stafford on either team. Matt Stafford's physically the most physically gifted quarterback.
He's like
arm wise. You know what I'm saying? Overall, it's DJ Shock that is most physically gifted. But Matt Stafford had a cannon, could throw it a mile. He first first pick overall in the NFL. But when he was in college, I think his best year was 9-3.
He threw a lot to the other team too.
Yeah, he did that. He did that.
He trusted in his arm. And sometimes that threw him into situations. He's very talented, like you said. Just like Jacob Eason is very talented. But if you look at winning, the big games and winning a lot of games and consistency and yards and, just who you can rely on, that guy right there. Whew, you think of a 2-minute drill, who do you want to run it?
Listen, I'm going to tell you something. On my second team, at running back, initially I had DeAndre Swift instead of Noshawn. But after I really thought about it, I was like, nah, it's Noshawn.
Yeah, I mean DeAndre Swift is, definitely in consideration, maybe like behind Sony, but no Sean Marino. Like I said, I struggle not to put him in my first team.
True. Did you?
Like I said, because we're comparing what he had. He had 2 seasons,
Yeah.
and they were two great seasons. But I
Yeah.
mean, and it'd be crazy if you really think about some other people that we've had, like where do they all fit when you think of like other years, like Garrison and Herschel and all. But
Yeah.
no Sean, no Sean was that good.
And injuries took a couple of people out. Like, I still believe if Keith Marshall wasn't injury prone, Keith Marshall definitely would have got consideration because his freshman year, it was ridiculous. That him and Todd Gurley together was just bananas.
It was like thunder and lightning. That dude catch it and he catch out. Nobody catches it.
And if we was basing it off of potential that we knew he had and that he showed some of, Isaiah Crowell would have got some consideration. Because Isaiah Crowell ran for like over 900 yards, and most of the time you could tell, man, like sometimes he didn't even he wasn't even trying hard.
But he didn't really have I mean, like I'm trying to remember the blocking that he had, but he didn't really have, I don't think, a strong, like the team right there, it seemed like it was a lot on him.
And it's crazy to believe he was our running back in 2011. So had he not gotten in trouble, we would have had Isaiah Crowell, Todd Gurley, and Keith Marshall. That
would have been crazy.
That's bananas.
But he had Nick Chubb, Sony, and DeAndre.
Well, actually, they freshman year, we had Todd Gurley, Keith Marshall, Nick Chubb, and Sonny Michel.
You're right.
Bruh, I'm telling you, dog. Like I say, man, RBU, man, we got to get back right, man. Hopefully this year, Zeus has had his time to heal from both injuries, and we'll get to see some of what we thought we was gonna see coming out of high school. You know what I mean? Appreciate you coming back into the Fan Addict KC. Talk about this offense. Hey, go Dogs. For everybody out there, if you didn't agree with what we said, if you had somebody different on your first or your second team, put it down in the comments. Let us let us know if we got it right, or if it's who you would pick or who you wouldn't pick. And don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. As always, go Dogs.
Go Dogs, sickle.
And we out of here.